Oh, my beautiful Jennifer Lopez. What fresh hell have you brought to my doorstep this time? Lopez and I have had a pretty rough go at it as of late. I covered the last few movies she dropped straight on streaming, starting with the critically acclaimed, in her mind and no one else's, This Is Me, ... now. And then I followed that review up with the greatest love story never told. It was ass. And then she was in that sci-fi movie that went straight to Netflix that I forgot the title of and I do not care to look up. It was also bad. But now the queen is back on the big screen where she belongs. And she's doing a musical based on a novel and a remake of a 1985 classic that won several awards called The Kiss of the Spider-Woman. It would appear that our Jenny from the block has spied another man that she wants to put on her mantle. This one she's not gonna marry though. And this one is encased in gold. I'm talking about an Oscar, baby. Now, before I tell you whether or not The Kiss of the Spider-Woman is the next Kiss of the Spider-Woman, I would love if you kiss the subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. That way you won't miss a future video by me in the future. I would appreciate it. The film is rated R. There's swearing, there's applied sexual abuse, and there's torture. And that's just coming from the people watching this movie. The movie contains all those things too, though. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the source material and you thought this was a sequel to Madam Web, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Not only is this not part of the Sony Cinematic Spider-Man universe that doesn't have Spider-Man in it, its main storyline is also not even about Jennifer Lopez at all. While J.Lo is certainly in the film and she's gonna be singing, she's gonna be dancing, after all, Miss This is Francine, she is not the main protagonist here. We're gonna be focused instead on Valentine and Luis. These two knuckleheads have found themselves in quite the predicament, being thrust into an Argentinian jail in the 80s. Valentine is part of a resistance group that has a lot of information the government wants their grubby hands on. So they decide, in their infinite wisdom, to put a mole inside the cell with our Valentine, and that's gonna be Luis Molina. Instead of trying to grease the wheels and become friends with Valentine, eventually pumping him for information, he's gonna be pumping him with something else. But before we get to that point, Luis wants to get to know Valentine, see what makes him tick, and ultimately it could be his chance to get out of prison. Because Valentine was thrown in for being part of the resistance, Luis was thrown in simply for being gay. And if he wants to see his freedom again, he needs to figure out some intel to give back to the warden. Now, because they're in this small, confined space, there's just not a lot to talk about. Especially for Valentine, who likes to read his books, he likes to work on his memoirs, and he just doesn't have a lot to say. Luis has a lot to say, and so he's gonna regale both Valentine and us, the audience, with the story. A story that's gonna take shape in the form of a one-man show. You see, our Molina absolutely adores the actress Aurora, played by Jennifer Lopez. And his favorite movie from her is The Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Valentine is unfamiliar with the musical. Don't worry, Luis knows it by heart. And so we're gonna follow two different storylines that have a lot in common, believe it or not, and they might end up tucking together in one neat package. Or at least, that's the idea. I think my least favorite way to do a story is when one person tells another person about an event, and we keep jumping back and forth between these two different storylines. The main character being bullish and doesn't want to hear the tale, but then as it starts to unfold, he can't get enough of it. Tell me more, please tell me more. And every time we jump into the fantasy world, the director really wants to show that juxtaposition between the grimy, dirty, real world in the prison and this beautiful, fanciful, colorful world that Jennifer Lopez gets to play in. Jennifer can be described in this film as having Barbie face. She is completely plasticified, nothing on her moves at all. She is completely plasticified, nothing on her moves at this point. Her hair is beautiful, lush, and blonde. She looks bizarre, almost alien-like in this film. But the woman can sing and the woman can move those hips, damn it. And she's gonna be twirling her heart out. Half the choreography in this movie is twirls. This happens around, I don't know, like halfway through. There's a moment in the film where our prisoners are poisoned. and one of them is shitting himself. So the other tucks down behind, and our Peter Rabbit here is gonna hop all the way into that rabbit hole and see what the mess is about. This is a disgusting scene to watch unfold. And as Louise was pulling down the not-so-tidy-whities now filled with human excrement while plugging his nose so he doesn't gag, all I was thinking was, yeah, this is it. This is cinema. And now it's unfortunately the only way I can achieve climax. When we're not treated to shit-stained drawers, we're whisked away back with Aurora as she's doing a Hello Dolly singing in the rain nod to all the classics. J.Lo plays double duty in this film. Duty, I suppose that's appropriate. Not only is she Aurora, but she's also the evil Spider-Woman. There's an actual Spider-Woman in this movie, folks. But it's a metaphor, though. The whole play is essentially a metaphor. The Spider-Woman with her long fingers and her flattened, stupid haircut kind of comes and goes later in the movie, out of nowhere, really. The play takes a turn where it's kind of this, oh, there's a bad guy and there's another love interest sort of a situation, to suddenly there is an evil spider lady who can kiss you to death. And every 10 years, she requires another sacrifice. This is straight out of some Disney shit. Except for the Disney shit has some good, catchy music. I didn't find one song that I could tap my feet to here, unfortunately. Everything's lit well, it's colorful, the choreography's fine, but I was not feeling any of the songs here. I think what doesn't help matters is I don't care about any of the characters in the musical world. Now, in the prison cell, the two lead characters are solid. I think actor Tonatiuh, I'm sure I mispronounced that, I apologize. I thought he did a very fine job with his role. Every character kind of has two different versions of themselves. They have the one in the prison, then they have the stage performance. And he, over anyone else, really showcases the talent and the different styles of acting he can do. The performance is unfortunately not enough to salvage this slow, boring affair. Anytime I'm back in the musical world, I check out completely. And the prison cell stuff isn't the most exciting either. And that 2+ hour runtime was excruciatingly long to get through. My God, was it painful to sit through that movie. I was moving around in my chair into balls, stretching out, just trying to do anything to stay awake. I was like a kid who had his iPad taken away after sitting on it for 6 hours. I didn't know what to do with myself. And I also did not really buy the love story aspect in this film either. I think Diego Luna was kind of the weak spot here. He didn't convince me. And Jennifer Lopez did nothing more than showcase her impressive legs off and that pearly white smile. I don't care. I need something more to hook me. While Kiss of the Spider-Woman is in no way, shape, or form near as cringy as Emilia Perez was last year, I honestly think I'd rather sit through Emilia Perez again just to laugh at how ridiculous that one is. Because at least I can listen to a song like man to woman, woman to man, penis to vagina, and get some humor from that. These songs fall so flat, and because I'm apparently on a tour to see how much pain I can endure, I sat through this entire fucking movie in the theaters. And I imagine I will be one of the few that actually does, because this movie is going to bomb. All right, there you have it, my thoughts on Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Unfortunately, I was not entangled into Miss Lopez's web once again. Let me know if you saw it in the comments below. Again, please think of subbing to Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I would absolutely appreciate it. I post a lot of movie reviews here, and not all the movies I talk about are winners. Let me know, though, and hopefully I see you next time. Take care. Oh, wow, you're still here. Well, since I have you, maybe think about jumping by the old merch store, Adam Does Movies, and pick up one of these Adam Does Movies Halloween tees. It's got Jason on the cover there on the logo, a little Friday the 13th inspiration in time for the holidays. On top of that, maybe think about becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/Adam Does Movies to really help support this one-man band. And that way I can afford to actually put out some candy this year for the trick-or-treaters and not just an empty pumpkin with a sign that says take one only. Implying that some fat little crap took all of them and left right away. Okay, that's all I got. Take care.